Okay, so first off, I just want to give some background and context for the inspiration behind this project. So, I wanted to do a project that really stemmed from a personal motivation. And as I'm coming to the close of my college career after many, many long years of being in school, I was looking back and reflecting on before I came to school. And growing up, I was always really, really excited to go to college. I grew up in a house with a bunch of older siblings, and I saw them going to these huge schools. So I always had my heart set, even from a very young age, on going to an Ivy League, one of those big name schools. And since then, in my close to 7+ years now of college and graduate school, I've grown to realize that there is so many more important things than the name or prestige of the school that you go to. And quite often the big name um, is is not even the best option. So that kind of got me thinking that it's more crucial that people really stop and evaluate where their priorities are, what they're looking for in a university, and apply and choose accordingly. So I decided to do a college dashboard for my project, an interactive college dashboard that allows students to research, basically put in their preferences and get college suggestions based on their preferences. So let's start with the data. So for this project, I knew that I wanted to do a dashboard. So first I needed, I'll just start down here actually. First I needed a bunch of just information on schools. And for anyone who has, I don't know if people have heard of them or not, but College Scorecard is a database that's put out by the US Department of Education. And they have immense amounts of metadata and statistics on a bunch of schools. So that is, and they have an amazing API, so it's super easy to get data from there. And that is the data that I sourced for my dashboard part of the project. And then for the neural network implementation, I wanted to explore student reviews of these universities. So, because I think that even apart from the statistics and the numbers, when it comes down to the firsthand experiences of students, I think that's a really important thing to reflect on when considering where you're going to spend the next 4 or 5 years. So I found, I'm sure lots of people are familiar with Rate My Professor. Most people know it as a professor rating or evaluation tool, but they also have a bunch of data on universities themselves because every university that's on Rate My Professor has a university page with, see, this one is a bad example because there's no actual text, but there's a bunch of different evaluations. So CU Boulder has 567 ratings, and that's a whole bunch of very rich text data. And because they also have this numerical rating attached to them, 0 to 5, I was able to use that as labels to train a sentiment analysis text classification model. So let's go to the model. All right, so I decided that I wanted to, in addition to getting the suggested universities, I wanted to provide the student reviews. However, I wanted to make it easier to go through. As you saw, CU Boulder had close to 600 reviews, which is a lot to go through. So I decided my ultimate goal was to present users of my web app with summaries going over the main pros and cons for the universities that match their preferences. And so I built an LSTM text classification model, and I was able to gather a bunch of data using basically a web scraper that I built. However, in order to allow my LSTM model to focus on the real task, which is sentiment analysis, I decided to leverage transfer learning and use fast text embeddings and keep it brief. But the reason I decided on these embeddings is because they handle human written, so text such as social media posts or student written reviews really well. And they're especially really good about dealing with out of vocabulary words. So I thought that would be a good fit. And then I was able to train a sentiment analysis LSTM model to with the goal of taking in reviews and then determining if they are positive or negative to then ultimately be fed into a summarizer. And I will show you more of that. So ultimately, the product I built is a College Explorer dashboard web app. So let's go through this. And it can be a little slow because there's a lot happening behind the scenes. I coded this in Streamlit, which allows you to create user interface apps using Python code. So it is running Python scripts, pretty heavy models behind the scenes. So bear with me here. But there's basically a dashboard where users can put in their preferences. And this is the preferences and the different categories that I pulled from the college scoreboard data. And so here, I'll just do a quick one here. Let's say California, Arkansas, Arizona. And we'll do city and town. And then we'll do public institutions. And you can do as many or few filters as you'd like. And then let's do tuition costs lastly. And we'll do 41, sure. Wait for this to refresh here. And now we can click, once we've put in all of our preferences, click Get Colleges. And here there's a list of suggestions. And right now it's currently coded to give you the top 20 suggestions. I'm still interested in adding a feature that allows you to change that, and also some sorting or like manual sort features. But once we have our suggestions here, then we are instructed to select a couple to look deeper in. And I'm just going to choose one or two here for time's sake, because after this, we're going to run a summarization model that can be a little time consuming. So let's find one that might not have too many reviews so this doesn't take too long. Maybe let's try University of Arkansas. Clear selected. Let's do okay. And let's lock in our selections. We'll just do one in this case, but you can do more than that. And then it pops up, get student review summaries. Now what's happening here is the model is now fetching all of the reviews from the school that we selected, this University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and it is then sending them through the classification model that is splitting them into either positive or negative sentiment reviews. And then from there, I leveraged the already tuned ChatGPT, OpenAI ChatGPT. I'm using the 3.5 Turbo model to then summarize the two groups of text, one being the positive groups of text and one being the negative. And as you can see, we output here, we have a summarization of all of the reviews that were classified as positive and all of the ones that were classified as negative. So in this way, I was able to kind of combine tuning to a specific data and use case with a fair amount of transfer learning to leverage a fully working web app.